It's questions in regards to truck traffic and local roads. How do you think that the Illiana will remove or lessen truck traffic on local roads?
You know, what we're seeing is we're seeing an increased demand in truck traffic along this area. And we're seeing a lot of truck traffic along the local routes. Will any facility solve that problem entirely? Will there never be trucks again along Peatone Road? The answer to that question is probably not. You're looking at facilities that pump out 16,000 trucks a day. You're looking at facilities that they act like a firework, so they kind of spread everywhere. For us, as a state agency, we have to accommodate all users. So like I was saying before, with our roads, we accommodate trucks. The counties, they have different regulations themselves, and local roads have different regulations themselves on what can and cannot be a truck designated route. But this facility will help. This facility, any facility like this, any continuous expressway from I-65 to I-55 will help ease the congestion as you continue to grow.
Questions in regards to costs. What's the estimated cost of construction, and what is what will be spent on Tier 1 and Tier 2?
Currently, we do not know the exact figures right now for the total construction cost. We're looking at a number of alternatives, and we're still running them all through the numbers. Right now, we were primarily concentrating on environmental impacts and looking at travel performance and trying to balance those. Then we're looking at community cohesion, looking at community impacts. Then we were looking at financial viability, is just trying to look at, you know, how much something like this would cost. And we're still in the process of doing that. We're still in the process of coming up with all those numbers of the total construction cost. So at this point, I do not know. As far as the Tier 1, Tier 2, we have in our multi-year program and what we've funded with participation from Indiana, between $40 to $50 million.
This regards to other alternatives. How about using a combination of C4 and up to B3 east to Wilmington?
And for any alternatives that get suggested like that, please write them down in a comment, and we will have to take a look at that and then put them on our GIS system. There's a number of alternatives, and the next report that we're preparing to get out sometime in May or June is really the alternatives report, and that has an entire subchapter. We've gotten well over 100 different corridors identified, and out of those 100, we've gotten maybe about 20, different variations on almost every single one. And so there's a number of B3 corridors that we looked at in different ways. And for this or that option, the corridor that we're showing right now is the best. It doesn't mean that this corridor is not going to change. What we're here tonight for is this 2,000 foot the best place that it could be? So, between December's public meeting and the public meeting that we had in February, we moved that corridor several times. Near I-57, for example, it does jump south of the power line. The one that we showed in December, it was north. So we continue to move this corridor in trying to minimize those impacts. And so any alternative like that, please write those in a comment, and we'll put them in, we'll evaluate them. We got a number of really good comments in the last public meeting, and we're continuing to evaluate numerous additional corridors right now.
And further questions in regards along those lines, Steve, I'll read a few of them. Wasn't Kankakee considering the Illiana? If you're modeling until 2040, wouldn't you build it the highway farther south?
Yeah, and then so we did look at that. We looked at that as a C4 option, which was actually going south of the Braidwood Nuclear Power Plant. We came across, we went on the northern half of Kankakee. There was a number of things with that. One, we were adding a substantial amount of lane miles, as you had to go south of the strip mines of Braidwood Nuclear Power Plant. We saw additional impacts with Kankakee. The C4 alignment, for example, did have more housing impacts than the B3 alignment. And then when we looked at the travel performance it lost a lot of traffic. So it really wasn't benefiting the region as much as the B3 corridor. However, there's been numerous additional comments as far as maybe look at combining C4 into B3 or some of these other alternatives. We're going to continue to go through those. So the one that we drew before, it didn't really perform well.
In regards to the tollway, why would people use the toll road instead of I-80?
Well, that's something that we're seriously looking at. When we're looking to put together a financial package, as far as how we're going to fund this thing, we have to look at those diversion rates. What is it with time? Operating trucks are somewhere around $100 an hour. Can you save an hour by not going up to I-80? It's worth $100 in operation and maintenance costs of the trucks. It's just strictly time and budget for those truck operating companies. So who's going to use that? That's what we have to find out. We have to find out those diversion rates. We have to understand where those trucking companies are, where they're going, and that's something that we continue to evaluate.
Another question in regards to toll. If it's a tollway, may it be sold or leased to a third party like done with the Chicago Skyway or the Indiana Tollway?
Yes.
Be sold or leased?
Yes, it'll be leased. Our current law says that this new facility can be leased for 99 years. Indiana has a very similar law. There's a 75 years. But that is, it's a very long process to put together a request for proposal for some type of public-private partnership, and that is leasing this facility.
These next questions are in regards to Route 129 interchange and areas where B3 would tie into I-55. What is the status of Route 129 interchange to the interchange being compared to the Illiana interchange at Interstate 55? Will Route 129 interchange wait for the Illiana Highway decision?
Currently, the funding that we had identified for the I-55 at Lorenzo and 129 interchanges was based on an economic development grant, a federal economic development grant. We did not get that. We still have it identified later on in the program. And in the program, we have 2012 through 2017, so it's someplace in the later years that we have that improvement identified. We don't believe that this project is impacting that particular letting of that, because it is way off in the program right now of when we were going to plan on replacing that structure. And so, but right now, that process and that project is on hold while we go and look at what exactly the B3 corridor could mean for that project. So right now we are working closely with that other project, and since we're leading both studies, it kind of worked out that way. And so we are working with the I-55 at Lorenzo study, Lorenzo 129 study. And right now we hope to have working alignments or just a concept geometry to kind of see how these even work, maybe in tier 2. So you're looking a year out before we have anything even developed as far as a concept, if the B3 corridor is chosen in tier 1.
Where will the Illiana tie into I-55, and what side of the river will it be, and how far away?
Can you repeat that?
Where will the Illiana tie into I-55, and will it be south of River Road, and how far away from River Road?
On the I-55 side, well, we'd be south of Widows Road. On the I-55 coming in at 129, we cross the Kankakee River near where the power lines are, and then what we were showing in the corridor was it kind of came up, it tried to get as close to the ID&R property as possible. We actually do impact ID&R property, something like 6 acres. is what we were currently showing. And it